Let's take a little look and review at the wheel of consciousness as we know it. There are 12 zodiac signs, and they are the zodiacal consciousnesses. That is the way we think and the behaviors that that consciousness embodies. So we're all familiar with this wheel, yes? We've been looking at it now for a period of time. Let's just break it down so we have a good equal foundation to work off today, because our next step is taking each one of these energies and exploring what they feel like blended together. So first off, we know that on the spring equinox in the sky, Aries constellation is what's rising on the eastern horizon. And we know that Libra was setting. And this is only a few days ago. So this is literally a very accurate snapshot of the sky at the moment. But if you're born in August, that wheel's going to turn and your ascendant might be Cancer or Leo. So are we understanding that we have a static understanding and our natural natal chart is a version of that turned to whatever point we entered the world, the date, the time, and the location? So when we look at the wheel of consciousness, Aries, it's that very first interpretation of ourselves. It's the bursting of the new year. It's the I am. And when we know what it is that we are and what we are seeking, only then can we commit to it. Would you agree? Yeah. When you know what you value, Taurus, you can take self-responsibility for it. Makes sense? Now, when we combine Aries and Taurus energy of self-commitment and self-responsibility, we get a solid commitment because we know what we want. We're going to make the commitment to it. We're going to choose what it is that we value and is important to us. And then we're going to take self-responsibility for it. If we don't have those two energies blended, we'll always get pulled away from our commitment. Our priorities will fall down. And how we keep that commitment together is through a sacred self-connection time. And every day we look at our calendar and we go, oh, the moon is in Aries. We know that day, all the actions I'm taking, are these in alignment with my I am commitments, or am I betraying myself there? Am I not committing to myself? So this is making sense how we use the wheel of consciousness, yes? Do you want to go around the whole wheel together? Yes, I think it'd be really beneficial. Okay. So then we move into Gemini. Gemini is all about the way that we think and how self-aware we are. It is an air sign. And you see how it's coupled there with Cancer, the I feel and self-compassion. Those two energies merged is what creates consciousness. Because if we are just in our thinking mind and really self-aware of our thoughts, that can turn into over-rumination, right? If we are just in the feeling side of Cancer and overly self-compassionate, we can fall into victimhood. But when we blend those two together and we're aware of what we are thinking and self-compassionate to what we are feeling, that is what opens consciousness. So as we progress into the summer, we evolve into the energy of Leo. And Leo is all about our will, how we express our will and our ego. Are we forcing to create because we can, or are we in co-creation and being very authentic in our self-expression? Because it has to come from the heart when it's authentic. And we all know the difference between co-creation and forcing to create, yes? Yes. So that's where we begin to embody the commitment we've made to ourselves and our higher state of consciousness. As soon as we begin to realize that, oh, there's an internal and an external part, I am in co-creation. And I really have to express my needs and what it is that I want for me to co-create what I want in life. If we couple that with Virgo, where we're beginning now to take self-accountability for what we've committed to, for this new state of consciousness, we're beginning to know ourselves on a different level. Leo, we're co-creating. Virgo's like, yeah, you know, I am becoming a expansive spiritual being. AKA, I am becoming my I am desires, because you have remained focused to it. Now, from Aries through to Virgo, this is all of the subconscious, right? This is the internal development of our consciousness. It's our emotional growth and it's our soul's evolution. And that's going to become more evident once we talk about the houses. Right now, we're understanding the consciousness of each zodiacal sign. So this is very much what goes on internally. And then when we pop over into Libra energy, this is where it's like, oh, these are our conscious interactions with the external world. So everything from Aries to Virgo that we develop is our internal growth. Everything we develop from Libra through to Pisces is that being expressed and balanced in the external. And the way I like to remember this is, as we know, if you were born on the spring equinox and you walked outside the hospital and you looked to the eastern horizon, Aries would be just coming up over the horizon. So all underneath here would still be nighttime in the southern hemisphere. It's the depth of our soul. And it's also the first 6 years of our human existence and our human psyche. So it's what we learn in those first 6 years. And then every year we come back and we are conscious to this circle, we mature again. We mature again in each single one of these aspects. So if you are following the zodiacal wheel every year and each month focusing on what the consciousness is, or following a moon calendar with the ups and downs of these consciousnesses throughout the week, you automatically deepen your commitment, open your consciousness, and embody a higher state of being. But we need to be conscious to it for it to happen. As we know with astrologies, all of these energies, these 12 states of consciousness, are an aspect of us, but something we can be completely blind to. I'm curious, before we started looking into, over the last 3 years, what it is that I value, what it is that I feel, what it is that I think, when we're more conscious to it, we certainly have a lot more direction and flow within it. Would you agree? So let's look now as we move into more of that outer wheel of the outer world of consciousness. So Libra is you're beginning to balance, right? You're beginning to balance who I am. You've just been through this expansion of commitment, expansions of consciousness. You're embodying a new sense of being. Now you're learning how to balance it. You're learning to self-validate. Because as we know, when we grow, we can grow away from people and towards other people. Some things that were once very important to us, we may no longer value. And this is the process of growing, expanding, and being in alignment with our soul's purpose. Then we move into Scorpio. And this is now we are starting to create, our elements are starting to build. So from Gemini, we went, I think, and I'm self-aware. Now I can self-validate my own awareness. Okay? Cancer was where we learnt to be self-compassionate and understand our feelings. Now, as we move into Scorpio, we're learning to transform those emotions and self-regulate those emotions as we come up with things in life that we haven't experienced yet. It's that self-regulation of emotion that allows us to choose and interact with what we're experiencing. And when we can self-validate and self-regulate our emotions, that deepens our sense of belonging. So then, this is, imagine the soul's journey. We've come in, we've gone through all of this growth internally. We're about to come out, we're maturing. Now we're coming right up to the very top here. This is our highest point of perception in the chart. And this is Sagittarius. This is where we begin to realize. So let's follow the elements again. We made a commitment in the spring. We have invested all of the time and energy to express ourselves and express our needs. And once we can do that, we know what our beliefs are. And there is complete self-realization of, yep, that works for me. No, that doesn't. And have you noticed this yourself as we go through these circles each year? What we're willing to tolerate and what we're not shifts and changes. So as we step into this self-realization and our beliefs are solidly our own, we can then step into society, which is Capricorn, the outward expression of the collective, with knowing exactly who we are and taking full responsibility for our behavior and actions. And that is our earth element completely solidified. I know what I value. I take self-responsibility for it. I know what I am becoming and I am self-accountable for it. And now I know myself. I govern myself. And this is how I choose to interact with society. And when we have those two, our self-realization and our self-sovereignty, blended together, then our beliefs deepen, take root, and limiting beliefs begin to fall away, because when we're meeting our own needs and taking responsibility for our own behaviors, we are living what we believe. That is authenticity. Then we move into the very last part here is we come into Aquarius. So let's again take a look at, we've been aware of what we're thinking. We've moved into a level of self-awareness where we are balancing our internal and external world. And we are beginning to self-validate. By the time we reach the consciousness of Aquarius, we are harmonizing our mental experience internally and externally. And this is where the soul begins to transform. It's where, and listen to these words very carefully, it's where the individuated I harmonizes with the external we. So Aquarius is the experience of oneness through individuation. Not oneness, my heart is open and I feel for the whole world and have no boundaries. It's I am very individuated in who I am, because you know what? I know what I'm committed to. I know what I am conscious of. I know what I'm choosing to embody. I've deepened my sense of belonging. I am clear in my beliefs. You know what? I'm getting clarity here. This is where the soul begins to transform, because you've spent a year now of actually being conscious of yourself. So then we move into Pisces, and this is the unification of our emotional experience, right? Remember we spoke about earlier is we come here to incarnate, to have our emotions experienced on all levels of the spectrum, right? Pisces is our house of transcendence. This is where we unify our emotional experience and open our connection to source and the cosmos. And we can't do that without emotional regulation. We can't do that without mental focus and direction. We can't do that without the right motivation. And we can't do that without the practical behaviors. So let's break that down. The behaviors is the full development of our earth energy. The motivation is the full development of our fire energy. Our emotional experience is the full development of our water energy. And our mental balance and harmonization is the expression of our air energy. So, does that flow make sense? Yeah. And I'm going to ask you how you would like to do this. Would you like me to go back to the wheel so you can look at it? But I want to sort of throw it open here to, now that we know how these energies couple together, right? What would, say, Cancer and Aquarius feel like if they were the two energies we brought together?